Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Easy Video Learning Series from DoMyAssignment.com. Today we're going to be looking at calculations involving integers and powers, and also looking at the order of operations, BEDMAS. Let's start by reviewing what BEDMAS means. Well, BEDMAS stands for brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. What does it mean? Well, it means when you're doing a calculation, the very first thing you're going to do is look for anything that's within a bracket and do that first. Once you're done that, you're going to move on to the exponents and complete those. And then you're going to do division and multiplication. And it doesn't matter what order you do those in. Then the last thing you do is addition, subtraction. And again, it doesn't matter what order you do those in. What's the definition of an integer? It's simply a whole number that's either positive or negative. And what's the definition of a power? It's simply a number that contains both a base and an exponent. Okay, so let's take a look at how we would use order of operations to complete a calculation such as this. 4 squared plus 4 times 3 divided by negative 2 to the 4th plus 2 times negative 7 to the 3rd divided by negative 12. Well, before we get started, you can notice that we have two fractions here with a bunch of other stuff contained within it. Multiplication, exponents, and so on. But, however, because they're fractions, we don't actually write brackets in here, but there are actually implied brackets that should go in here. So we can rewrite this like this. So with any fraction, there are actually implied brackets around the numerator, around the denominator. So that's going to help us simplify this expression. Because basically we can take each one of these 4 different components and simplify them on their own. And then we'll end up with a fraction that we can simply add up. So let's start with this numerator here, 4 squared plus 4 times 3. First thing we're going to do is the exponent, because that comes first before multiplication and addition. So 4 squared is 16. And 4 times 3 is going to be 12. And we do the multiplication first because it comes before addition. So we get that. And let's just leave that like that for now. Then down here we have negative 2 to the exponent 4. And you could simply take out your calculator and calculate that. Or you could do it in your head and just say 2 to the exponent 4 is 16. And then it's negative. Then we move on to this one. And we've got 2 times negative 7 to the 3rd. And we're going to do the exponent first again. So just simply take out your calculator and type in negative 7 to the exponent 3, and you'll get negative 343. And that's divided by negative 12. Now we have two fractions here, but we still have a bit more simplifying that we can do, so let's just keep on moving on here. 16 plus 12 is 28. 2 times negative 343 is going to be negative 686. And so now we have two fractions with different denominators, and we know that we have to have the same common denominator if you want to add up a fraction. However, before we go and look for that, let's take a look at these two and see if we can simplify them a little bit more. For example, 28 over negative 16, can we simplify that fraction? Can we reduce it into lowest terms? And basically that means, is there a number that divides equally or evenly into 28 and negative 16? And there is. The number is 4. So if we divide 28 divided by 4, we're going to get 7. And if we divide negative 16 by 4, we're going to get negative 4. Over here we've got two negatives, and we can easily get rid of those just by simply dividing both the top and bottom by negative 1. And if we do that, we're going to end up with 686 and 12. Okay. So let's rewrite this. It's going to be equal to 7 over negative 4 plus 686 divided by divided by 12. Okay, so now we have two fairly simple fractions, and we need to add them up, so we need to find a common denominator. And so what's common among 4 and 12? Well, 4 actually divides into 12 evenly, or negative 4 divides into 12 evenly. So why don't we just use 12 as the common denominator? And so all we do is simply look at negative 4 and decide how did we get to 12 from negative 4? Well, you just simply multiply by negative 3. So you're going to do the same thing to the top. 7 times negative 3. You get negative 21. And this is going to stay the same here. And so now we have two fractions that have a common denominator. That means we can simply add up the numerators. So you just take out your calculator and type in negative 21 plus 686, and you get 665. So here we have the answer as an improper fraction, but you may want to convert that back into a mixed number, and there's lots of ways you can do that, but the way that I like to do it is to simply take out my calculator and divide it out. 665 divided by 12, and I get 55.41666 repeating, which means that I know the answer is going to be 55 and something, and the fraction is going to be equal to the 0.41666. So how do we calculate that? Again, there are a number of ways you can do that, but the way that I like to do it is to convert 55 into a fraction of 12 to begin with. So we want to know what number divided by 12 will be equal to 55. And all you do is simply take 55 and times by 12. You get 660. And that means that 55 is equal to 660 divided by 12. These two are equivalent. They're the exact same thing. But we know the answer has to be 665 divided by 12. Well, if we already have 660 over 12, how many more 12s do we need? You simply take 665 and subtract 660, and you get 5. So we know the answer is going to be 55 and 5/12. And the last thing you do is check to see if you can reduce this fraction into any lower terms. Is there any number that divides evenly into 5 and 12? And no, there isn't. So that means we know the answer is 55 and 5/12 as a mixed number in lowest terms. Okay, and that concludes another episode of the Easy Video Learning Series from DoMyAssignment.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.